I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please rise if you're able and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So nice to have those little voices.
I know.
chiming in. Thanks for coming everyone. We're going to start the meeting tonight by swearing in our re-elected trustees so that they're official.
Okay, come on down. We doing Rob again?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh.
all right.
Who goes first? Alphabetical?
Well, Rob I've already
All right.
done. so
Well,
we'll do
you have to
Brian.
ceremonially,
Yeah,
you know, we'll be doing both.
we'll do Brian, because Rob's gone first. Okay, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of village trustee according to the best of your ability?
I do.
Okay, so, pen,
Welcome back.
okay, Rob, your turn again, raise your right hand. Do you
Keeping the
solemnly
gang
swear
together.
that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of village trustee according to the best of your ability? Okay, you ready to sign? Okay.
Speech, speech. Well, we're just
You can
glad.
stay for a few
We're
minutes.
glad that you're still here, and thanks for running again and dedicating
Wow.
another 2 years to the village.
Thank you. Our pleasure.
All right, then let's move on to, we have some public hearings tonight. The first one is an amendment of the zoning code on the site plan procedures for the planning board. So I need a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
It's a good day.
Sorry,
All in favor?
Aye.
sorry.
Okay, Brad, would you please step up and introduce this?
How's it going? Brad Hammond from the Building Department. The first public hearing, it's 4 different sections within site plan procedures. This was precipitated, we have a new planner, and just trying to streamline the efforts of the planning board. The agenda's gotten very bloated because we're such a busy village. So you might remember we discussed this as a work session, I believe, in April. There was several changes we kicked around. The planning board had an opportunity to provide comment, and what we've landed on are these 4 sections within 19763. So it's
Presented to a project that has improved.
4 amendments in total, but it's all servicing to streamline the agenda and make the process more efficient.
And we very much appreciate that you and Britton and Tony look at that, because, you know, we are all in favor of streamlining the processes. I have some comments to make and to address. I wonder if anybody in the audience has any comments. We can hear those first. Okay. So I don't think we're ready to finalize this, because I would like to hear what you all have to say about, let's see. All right, the first one is about that the planning board can now conditionally approve an application pending the, permit from the health department. And whereas before, the planning board would go through it, correct, and then just hold it on the agenda. And then when the applicant got the site plan approval, they'd come back and then the planning board would approve, right?
Correct. So that was something that was put into our code at some point. It's a little atypical for many municipalities. I've worked in several different municipalities. Our attorneys worked in several municipalities, and it seemed like this was we had a lot of applications that kind of got to the end, and all we were waiting on was the health department, and then it would stay on the agenda for month after month after month. And sometimes when it would come back, it was almost like we had to rediscuss the whole project again. So making that a condition of site plan approval, which is something that's typical and I'd be checking for anyway, that kind of dovetails into the last part about terms, because since the health department is the long lead item in many cases, by the time it gets that approval and the planning board gives their approval, many site plans would expire within 6 months or a year of the resolution date if they had not pulled a building permit. So we've expanded the term to put it in the code that there was a minimum of a year, but the board could do up to 2 years, and then we put some language in there about extensions. Those are really two things that kind of tie together. The other main change was about public hearings, spelling out when you require a public hearing, when you should have a public hearing, and when you really don't need to have a public hearing. This should introduce more of a work session agenda discussion item, even though that's not explicit within the code changes. It'll be, again, we feel like it should be a more efficient, more effective way to review site plans. And the third one was really cleaning up. We had a 19763M dealt with conditions and term, and the conditions being like enforcing covenants and restrictions. That is, we're not adding anything there, we're just taking the term portions out of it because we've added a new subsection at the end. So I guess those three kind of tie into each other.
So these are just I have 3 questions or comments, and then, either you or Tony can tell me what you think. In that first paragraph, do you have it in front of you, Tony?
I don't.
Oh, no. It must be
Is it in our packets?
No. No.
This is a nightmare. Okay, so the first part is when it talks about that they can conditionally approve the site plan. I thought it would make sense if it said subject to the terms herein, or that it won't impact the timing of the required renewals, because I feel like the way it reads now, that it's not taking into account the renewal time periods that are set forth in that section T. I feel like we can't do this if everybody doesn't have it in front of them. So maybe this is better for a conversation for,
A work session, maybe you wanna, or hold it over until then?
yeah, I mean, I know that everybody really would like to see the changes go into effect.
Oh, I think we just vote on it, move on. I read it. I read it right here.
Nope.
Come on.
No, because
Streamline.
also, the last one is saying a total of 6 years, and I feel like it should only be a total of 4 years. Even if the planning board gives a 2-year initial term, the renewal shall only be for 1 term, 1 more year, and then 1 more year. Just because the original permit is for 2 years, and then you seek the renewals, you shouldn't get 2-year renewals and then another 2-year renewal. Because in my opinion, 6 years is a long time to have a site plan out there. So that would be my comment, and I think you're right, maybe this is more appropriate for a work session when we all have it in front of us, and, because it's too hard to talk about it, and when everyone's trying to imagine the words on the paper.
Yeah, we tried to leave it a little open, but to also, this planning board usually keeps a tight leash on the applicant, so we were getting 6 months, 6 months, 6 months. Because we know we're waiting for a health department, 6 months is just not enough time, so we put a year and then kind of prescribed that 2-year would be normal. The extension, it's not set in stone, but that is something, it's up to the board if you wanted to clamp down that the extensions would continue to be a year. I don't think that's a big deal. We'd have to look at the language again and repost it probably.
Yeah, all right, well, I would like to just go through it at the work session.
Yeah.
I mean, why don't we hold over the public hearing?
Yep. Right.
Till the August meeting, we can talk about it at the work session, and if you, and Tony and the board says, no, you don't have to worry about that, these comments that you have are not gonna, there's nothing wrong with the way it's written, then we can just do it, or we'll revise it and renotice it.
It's an oddly scheduled meeting. We don't usually do Monday meetings, so I don't think there's any harm in holding it over. I mean, these are pretty big changes that we've been talking about for over a year, but we don't wanna go through with anything if you're not all comfortable with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I just don't wanna do it and then find out that, oh, they don't have to pay a fee because, or they're getting 6 years. Okay, and then you might as well stay up because we have another one, so I need a motion to, carry over the public hearing to the August meeting.
Make the motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
And then the second, this was listed as a holdover, but it's really supposed to go up under the public hearings, was Local Law 8 of 2023, amending the zoning code on the non-conforming uses. We did wanna open the public hearing tonight and just start the conversation for that as well. Motion,
So moved.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
So this was quite specifically tailored to, we have non-conforming uses within our code, and then there are non-conforming uses that are, have special allowances in terms of expansion. Those are our membership beach, golf, and tennis clubs. The code, even though when the zoning was changed for much of these areas to be rezoned residential, knowing that these were integral to the community, they are afforded through a permit to the zoning board some entitlements to reconstruct those pre-existing non-conforming uses or structures. So what had come up recently, our code allows you to rebuild the clubhouse within certain parameters. Like you can expand up to 25%. Our code allows to rebuild storage and utility areas like parking areas or sheds up to 100%. The country club here had some pre-existing on-site staff housing that they were attempting to rebuild, and there was nothing about staff housing specifically within this section. And I didn't want to, as the building inspector, I didn't want to say that that was normal and accessory to a golf course, although we might talk about that at a future date. Tony and I talked about if they rebuild this building up to today's standards and, you know, include a second stairway and a hallway and change the configuration of the rooms around, we wanted to allow them to rebuild that within this section of the code as we normally would through a permit from the zoning board. It also goes through the planning board. And it would allow for the expansion of that specific pre-existing staff housing building to increase up to 100%, as in the other storage and utility areas. I didn't want to call staff housing a storage and utility area, so we broke it out as a separate subsection. That's the extent of this proposed code change. I think the country club is updating facilities, and it's very important to retain their talent there, and they need to have, as you all may realize, that staff housing is becoming more and more difficult. So by putting it on the site, it's probably a preferential for us in the community as well as the country club. And so this would enable them to rebuild that staff housing up to double the size, but it at least puts a number on it so it's not unlimited.
Yeah, because they don't want to double the people in the rooms. They want to have each person have their
That's a
own.
good point. So the condition being, we almost as if we treated the nonconformity as the number of persons. So this is not double the size, you can double the occupants. This is double the size so you can have a up-to-date facilities. You can imagine a lot of these facilities started as just houses that existed within the footprint of the country club, and they weren't set up for many different people of different, in different family situations, different, so this would be more like more of a commercial building that everyone has their own room, and it's, I guess, a more desirable way to deal with it.
Right. They're improving the living conditions for their staff and not increasing the occupancy.
Correct.
And that's
Okay.
in the code there where it says we're not increasing the number of occupants. Because they have to increase in the bathrooms and the stairs, and there's a lot of changes that go with it, right?
Yes, and all these would go through the zoning board, so when when they first came to us to tear down an older building, we went to the zoning board, we had floor plans submitted, we knew what the occupancy count was, that's all on the record, so that when they came back to rebuild, our code still limited them to that floor area not increasing, which is burdensome in this case, because the way they build this building under current building code is larger hallways and multiple stairs and larger bathrooms, and maybe not having 3 persons within a bedroom. You have single occupancy units, that's better for us in terms of potential overcrowding and things of that nature.
Mhm. Steve and I met with them, and they have a lot of thoughts about what they want to do with the property, but we're just addressing this one tonight. We told them whatever else he wanted to do, they need to come to a work session and talk to the board, and that would require a lot more thought, but this one is
I think
pretty straightforward.
This idea is pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Very
Does anybody have any thoughts about this for the country club?
I think it's another example of Brad, Tony, and Britton doing a great job of, getting things up to date.
Streamlining and making it flow easy.
Things have been done the same way for a long time, and they need updates like this, especially well thought out ones, so thanks to all of you.
Okay, so this one, we can hold this one over to just to August and do if there's no more comments, we can pass the resolution at the August meeting. They're not ready to build until the fall. So I need a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, good, thank you, Brad. Tony. Okay, let us move on to the resolutions. No, what? No, I mean, no one has the patience for it. So. We're not gonna do that site plan resolution tonight either. Oh, just, you can see, of course, but the other 6 public hearings are being held over because we expected to have the approvals or the recommendations from the planning board by tonight, but we weren't able to get that, so once we have it, we'll move forward. This is for outdoor seating for these 6 establishments. Okay, Brian, take it away.
All right. I'm good there's no issue with me reading the first one, right? No. Resolved that the results of the general village election of June 16, 2023 are hereby accepted as set forth in the attached official return of votes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Resolved that the firm of Essex, Hefter, Angel, Natalia, and Pasca LLP are hereby appointed to serve as the village attorneys to perform the functions and duties as legal counsel to the Board of Trustees, Planning Board, and Zoning Board of Appeals for an annual retainer of $78,000 to be paid in 12 equal installments, and the Architectural Review Board on an hourly basis as needed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolved that Anthony Marabali is hereby appointed to serve as a special district attorney to prosecute village justice court cases and write appeals as necessary at an hourly rate of $175 for a term of 1 year.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I abstain.
Resolved that Martha M. Rogers Esquire is hereby appointed as the acting village justice of the village of West Hampton Beach to serve for a 1-year term effective July 1st, 2023 at an annual salary of $6,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolved that trustee Ralph Urban is hereby appointed to serve as deputy mayor for a term of 1 year effective July 1st, 2023.
Second.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolved that Christopher Minch is hereby appointed to serve a 5-year term as a member of the Village Architectural Review Board to commence June 1st, 2023 through May 31st, 2028.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolved that Gregory Manazin is hereby appointed to serve as chairman of the Village Architecture Review Board for a term of 1 year to expire May 31st, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolved that John Witchin is hereby appointed to serve a 5-year term as a member of the Village Zoning Board of Appeals to commence on June 1st, 2023 through to May 31st, 2028.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolved that Gerard Peering is hereby appointed to serve as chairman of the Village Zoning Board of Appeals for a term of 1 year to expire May 31st, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Resolved that Michael Schurmeyer is hereby appointed to serve a 5-year term as a member of the Village Planning Board to commence June 1st, 2023 through May 31st, 2028.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
28.
Yeah, that's correct, yeah.
No, but I mean, that's 2028, who would
I know, it's a
think
long
that
time
we're
away.
talking about that? Wow.
Resolved that David Riley is hereby appointed to serve as chairman of the Village Planning Board for a term of 1 year to expire May 31st, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolved that Raymond Dow, Dawn Ledoux are appointed to the Conservation Advisory Council for a 2-year term to end on May 31st, 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolved that Patricia Schaefer is hereby appointed as chairperson of the Village Conservation Advisory Council to serve a 1-year term to expire on May 31st, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, should I read this one?
You want me to do it?
Okay.
Just to be
Yes,
sure.
please.
Resolved that Ralph Urban, Janine Turno are hereby appointed to the Ethics Board to serve a 2-year term to expire May 31st, 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolved that Mayor Maria Z. Moore is hereby appointed Commissioner of Licenses for a 1-year term.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby appoints the following individuals to the Safety Committee, which will meet quarterly as recommended by the New York State Municipal Workers' Compensation Alliance. Maria Moore, Mayor. Stephen Frano, Trustee. Elizabeth Linfit, Village Clerk. Stephen McManus, Chief of Police. Brad Hammond, Building and Zoning Administrator. Matthew Smith, Superintendent of Public Works. Andrew Kerwin, PBA Vice President. Paul Bouget, AME Shop Steward. Nicholas Van Ville, Code Enforcement Officer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Whereas the New York State Legislature on June 15th, 2013 amended the New York General Municipal Law to allow a notice of claim against the village to be served upon the New York State Secretary of State, and the law further provided that the village is required to adopt a resolution approving the designation of the individual to be served the notice of claim by the Secretary of State, and that all such notices of claim and any other legal papers received shall be immediately provided to the mayor and each trustee for review. Now therefore be resolved as follows: the Board of Trustees hereby appoints the village clerk as the individual to whom the Secretary of State must serve any notice of claim against the village.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You want me to read this one?
Go ahead, Ralph.
I got it.
Resolve that, oh, go ahead, Rob.
Resolved that Steve Frano is hereby appointed to serve as marriage officer for a term of 1 year pursuant to provision of NYS Domestic Relations Law 11-C.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
There you go.
Yeah.
Your last year, you wanted to do it.
Resolved that TD Bank, MBIA Municipal Investors Service Corporation, Class Program, and Signature Bank are hereby designated the official depositories of the Village of West Hampton Beach during the ensuing year, and that the village clerk treasurer is hereby ordered to deposit all funds therein.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Resolved that the Board of Trustees shall hold its regular meetings on the first Thursday of the month at 5 p.m. in the municipal building located at 165 Mill Road, West Hampton Beach, unless the first Thursday is a holiday, in which event the regular meeting shall be held on the first Friday thereafter, which is not a holiday, or is specifically noted on the attached schedule. And be it further resolved that the work sessions will be held on the third Wednesday of the month at the municipal building at 5 p.m. as indicated on the attached schedule. The annual organizational meeting will be held on Monday, July 1st, 2024 at 5 p.m. at the municipal building.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Resolved that the planning board shall hold its regular meetings at 5 p.m. on the second and fourth Thursdays of each month as necessary. The zoning board of appeals shall hold its regular meeting on the third Thursday of each month at 5 p.m. as necessary, and the architecture review board shall hold meetings on the first and third Tuesdays of each month at 6 p.m. as necessary according to the schedules attached.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolved that the Village of West Hampton Beach check shall be signed by Maria Z. Moore, Mayor, Ralph Urban, Deputy Mayor, Elizabeth Linvet, Village Clerk, Treasurer, or the Deputy Village Treasurer, except for trust and agency checks which shall be signed by either Elizabeth Lindvet or the Deputy Village Treasurer upon written approval by appropriate department's head and to release such funds.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolved that the Southampton Press is hereby designated as the official newspaper of the Village of West Hampton Beach during the ensuing year.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolved that all employees and officials of the village who use their vehicles or other private vehicles for official village business shall be reimbursed mileage at the rate allowed by the Internal Revenue Service in effect at the time of the request is made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Resolved that the attached investment policy is hereby approved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolved that the minutes of the Board of Trustees meeting for June 1st, 2023 are hereby accepted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolved that the Police Department, Justice Court, and Building Inspector's reports for May 2023 are hereby accepted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolved that Caitlin Lupia, Haley Groth, and Nicolette Stenfanidis are appointed as beach assistants at an hourly rate of $12.50, Quinn Papagini at a rate of $13.25, and George Paltridge at a rate of $12.75 effective June 4th, 2023. And those are all hourly rates. Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolved that James Pizzatola is hereby appointed as a lifeguard at an hourly rate of $16.75, and Haley Weisbrod as a lifeguard at an hourly rate of $15.50 effective June 4th, 2023.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolved the Board of Trustees hereby authorize the mayor to sign the school resource officer agreement for the 2023 to 2024 school year with the West Hampton Beach School District.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolved that the warrant for July 2023 in the amount of $577,945.30 for the general fund and $118,939.52 for the capital fund is hereby approved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolved that Doza Yoga is hereby authorized to use Rogers Beach Pavilion on Mondays and Wednesday mornings from 5:45 a.m. to 6:45 a.m. starting Monday, June 26th and continuing until September 6, 2023 for a sunrise yoga class for approximately 10 to 15 persons.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolved that the Riverhead Foundation for Marine Research is hereby authorized to use the Village Marina on Saturday, July 15th, 2023, and Saturday, August 12th, 2023, from 2:30 p.m. to 5 p.m. for a pop-up tent event to raise awareness for boater safety. Fees waived per the board.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for working on that, Ralph.
Sure.
Resolved that Allison and Craig Fox of 137 June Road are hereby authorized to use Rogers Beach parking lot on Saturday, July 29th, 2023 from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. for 35 cars, provided that there is availability with the village issuing parking passes.
So, do we get insurance coverage on that? All right, just making sure. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolved that the village clerk treasurer is hereby directed to publish and post a notice of public hearing to be held on Thursday, August 3rd, 2023 at 5 p.m. at the Village Hall for a special exception application filed by Picasso Art Studio for outdoor tables and chairs.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the renewal of Funcho's Fajita Grill outdoor music permit for 2023, subject to the same conditions as set forth in the determination dated January 6, 2011, the provisions of Chapter 196-3 of the Village Code, and the requirement that the volume of the amplifications shall not be as excessive as to annoy or disturb a reasonable person of normal auditory sensitivity.
My favorite.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Whereas Funcho's Fajita Grill has applied to renew the outdoor tables, chairs, and benches permit for 2023 to place 4 outdoor tables and 16 standard chairs pursuant to Section 196-2 of the Village Code. And whereas there has been no substantiated incidents or reports filed with the police department concerning said use. Now therefore be resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby authorizes the placement of outdoor tables and chairs as shown on the submitted plan approved in 2006 and subject to the same set of conditions and plan attached to the 2023 application.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby authorize the purchase of 15 S-45 iron-sized Series 45-gallon liter receptacles from Victor Stanley as a sole source vendor in the amount of $21,627 from the GL account Charlie Mary 2915.4 Culture Reception.
Second.
I'm sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good.
Resolved that the quote submitted by Ron Hill PE in the amount not to exceed $4,800 for a parking study to examine the existing parking in the B1 Business District to be funded from A1440.4 Engineering and Surveys is hereby accepted.
Second. Oops, sorry.
Who did
Sorry,
it?
that was my fault.
We both did.
Ralph? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Yeah.
Aye. Resolved that Neil Narbe is appointed as a seasonal police officer at an hourly rate of $30 per hour, hourly rate of $30 effective July 5th, 2023 to work as directed by the Chief of Police.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Walk on.
Resolved that Harris Khan is appointed to the position of seasonal traffic control officer in the police department effective July 3rd, 2023 at an hourly rate of $18 per hour to work as determined by the Chief of Police.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Just in time for tonight.
Yeah, the fireworks.
What do you think? You wanna see the video?
Let's see the video.
I mean, it depends if anyone else wants to see it. I mean, I've seen it.
Is it right there, Liz? You didn't see the
Yes.
sewer one.
Which one is,
We should be asking Bill, Brad, Matt, and Chief.
The quality of life for residents on Long Island.
we're not gonna watch
This year.
it.
All
Why
right.
isn't it called-
August it is.
Yeah, why isn't it?
Anyway, we are going to, we need to close the meeting, not close the meeting, but go into an executive session to talk quickly about a couple of things, the contract negotiation and a litigation. And then when we come out, we'll close the meeting. So, I need a motion to do that.
So moved.
All-
Second.
All right.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so get home safe, everyone.